Before I begin the episode, I just want to say there are cities that I just don't like.
We're just off to a great start.
In general, and I have to say,
is this like are we doing like a?
I'd rather be. Wait, I'm not gonna try to hold back on it.
Is this like a cold open?
It's maybe a cold open because we can be cold the entire episode, but like Jersey's better than Salinas. Okay. Like Staten Island. You know how hard it is for me to say Staten Island is better than Salinas?
Well, I mean, it just is.
Huh?
It just is. Staten Island.
It just is.
They gave us the Impractical Jokers.
They did. I think they also gave it to Sopranos-ish, to an extent. No, it's more Jersey. Same different. I mean, pretty much Staten Island. Staten Island is Jersey, so. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode of the Press Talk Sports Live. I am your host, Jeff Weisinger. Joining me on the final countdown on his farewell tour, the Men 22 national champion, the soon-to-be first esports Hall of Famer in the LUHSC Hall of Fame, Juan Cebrieros.
It was a hell of a Saturday, to say the least.
First off, before we begin, huge shout out to Liberty softball in the season they had. We'll start. Let's start positive because I think
the fact that they were playing on literally the last day of the spring season.
It's pretty great. On the last day, the day after graduation.
Yeah, the day after graduation. I know they only had 2 seniors, but can you imagine if this was a senior-heavy team, and then they had to go out and play the next day? Like, God have mercy.
No, it was definitely crazy. A lot to go over. There's a lot to talk about on that game. A lot to talk about on that game.
Mm-hmm.
But let's start with a couple of housekeeping things. First off, the Press Sports Instagram, we have a logo, for one.
God bless.
We actually have a profile picture, which is kind of the biggest thing.
For the longest time we didn't. I was like, ooh.
For like a month, we almost did it.
And I'm like, people are following. I'm like, not gonna lie, this looks like a bot account.
It did for a while, I'm telling you. And that was my biggest fear. And I was like, listen, I'm trying to build a following, but you'll love this. We hit over 300 followers already in the first month, which is good. Thank you. Thank you. Also, we have just under 175,000 views.
Golf claps
again. So that
we're doing something right.
We're doing something,
or we're doing something wrong. Either way, we are doing something. Things are being something.
The way I see things are being something, exactly. So a shout out to that. We have a cool guest coming in on Friday, London Shed, who I typed in London Breed originally with the former mayor of San Francisco, but London Shed is coming in, the first female sprinter to reach state from Liberty,
which is
in school's history, which is actually really cool.
Which is phenomenal because if you look at she runs the 100 meter and 200 meter.
The 1 and 200, yeah.
Those are the most competitive sprints there is. Everyone wants those. Those are the most watched runs.
Those are to me to watch. When you watch the Olympics. And
so the fact that she's one of the best in the state to be doing that's
right.
Remarkable on its own.
So she's coming on Friday for that interview. We're super excited for that. But congratulations to that. To the class of 2025, to all our seniors, congratulations. Graduation was it was a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. Graduation was it was a vibe for sure. It was cool seeing athletes graduate, though. I'll say that much. It's interesting because we've seen these kids for years now, right? We've seen them kind of.
Well, I grew up with some of them too.
But we've kind of seen them really kind of grow up and everything. And
this was the graduation that made me feel old because the people
made you feel old, huh?
When I was a senior, this graduating class was freshman. So now,
what's that? You went to freshman year, senior year?
Yeah. So now, I'm like, holy hell.
I know, and now they all having kids, and they all found the Lord.
It's funny because I grew up playing baseball with Nate Bell, and Jackson was little at the time, and now he's the star football player for Liberty. So I'm just
I mean, to be fair, from a height standpoint, but
I'm just
it's kind of cool having that perspective though, because you see it. I mean,
I've grown up with a lot of the people in this area.
Do y'all ever leave this city?
Nate did.
God bless. I envy it. But but you know what I'm mean. It's interesting because
I'm actively trying to.
I mean, Fresno's I guess Fresno's the Amazon version of Brentwood, but
it's 3 hours south here and it's far enough away from my family. That's what this is for.
You and me have had those conversations. Trust me,
we going for the education. No, we're going to get the hell out of here.
We've had those conversations. Trust me, I know. But it's interesting because when you see all these kids, everyone together. you kind of know they all grew up together. Like, I also heard from Eric all the time that, like, they you know, I knew this kid going on to he when he was 5. I knew this when she was 4.
And what's funny about this graduating class, it was a lot of the younger siblings of my graduating class.
Right.
So, like, you see a lot of the last names. You're like, oh, you're like, I remember you when you were like this little. I feel old saying this now. I feel like the aunt or the uncle at the party. I haven't seen you since you were like this.
Gay high.
Yeah. But it's just kind of like that. And I have a few of my best friends have siblings even graduating next year. So I'm just like, good Lord.
It just never ends.
Where did I go wrong?
But it's interesting. Like, it's interesting at Basinos, like, for Liberty, for example. I know how long the school has been here, but, like, when you see the parents of the students who are also Liberty alumni, you don't being the outsider, you don't realize the depth or, like, just how deep Liberty specifically. I mean, because Heritage is still relatively young because they opened 2006. It's almost 20. 20 years is still compared to Liberty.
2006, yeah, and Freedom's not that old too. They're
mid-90s. Freedom's just older than Heritage.
Mid-90s, I think. The first class was 97,
yeah, something like that. You know what the one constant with Freedom's been? Dr. Stephen Morrow.
This is true. This is true. That man
is Freedom High School.
That man is a Freedom High School.
He's awesome. I say he's awesome. Don't get me wrong.
He wears that patch with a lot of pride, and you know what? Shout out to him.
You know, happy Wednesday. I love him. Honestly, I love working with him. Like, that's why I can do this.
Amara's probably one of the greatest.
But the coolest part is, like, when I was at the graduations, like going to La Paloma and Independence, especially, like the two these schools that he has no ties to in that regard. The cheers that this man gets.
Yeah.
You know.
He's just like a known
right.
figure.
Like, he wasn't at Liberty or Heritage, not that he had to be, but, like, being at the other two, I just think it's just the applause he gets and the respect he has within the Liberty Union community, I think is actually really kind of cool. And then, like, you know, shouts to the big three for actually tossing their caps. Because the other two didn't, and I was like,
you know, that's becoming more common at the high school. Because I remember when I graduated, they said, you know, tossing your caps is really a college thing. It's not really a high school thing. So we're like, oh, okay. We still, like, not everyone tossed theirs, but some people did. Right. But, like, now it's like the entire class throws it.
Right. Like, when I
didn't want to throw mine because A, I didn't decorate my cap, and B, I didn't want to go searching for it.
Fair. Also same. I'd rather toss my student debt, but that's a whole different topic from college.
No, toss all the worksheets you had to do in high school.
You know how cool that would be? Like, everyone's tossing caps. You just have a whole folder of all the work you did. You just launch it in the air.
Dude, I always pitch this idea with my friends. Like, you just make a burn pile of all the work you did in high school and just
have like one big camp.
Just do a bonfire. Yeah,
that would be kind of cool.
It'd be very therapeutic, I think.
Oh, it would be. Remember that one essay we had? Nah, burn that.
No, burned.
Been there, burned that.
No, I'll probably do that for college.
You should do that. I will tell you, you should definitely do that because I'm thinking about it now. Like, I kind of wish I did that.
Very therapeutic.
So, final countdown, man. How are you doing? Like, now, what, 2 weeks out now? 2 weeks out of Valentine's?
Yeah.
2-3 weeks.
Who's been counting? I just know I'm out.
How does the free life feel?
I missed having free will, honestly.
I know. I told you. I was like, hey, we have podcast 11:15. Yeah, I just woke up.
Oh, yeah, I just woke up. Yeah, give me a minute.
It's you know.
It's a Wednesday, by the way.
The professionalism, you know.
No, but it's like I couldn't cover a lot of the spring sports a lot of the semester because it's like, oh, school. But school is out. I'm like, all right, I will be there.
To be fair, a lot of the spring stuff, like, there was some storylines.
A lot of the spring stuff was fun, but we'll get to next week. Ha ha.
It's kind of a weird kind of cold tease. Haha. You don't know what's coming next. Haha.
Please watch and listen.
Who knows? It may be our last episode. Haha.
After today, yeah, probably. Maybe we should have done the top 5 this episode.
Top 5 moments. We'll have top 5 stories and top 5 moments of the Press Talk Sports Life.
We don't know if the next one's going to get out.
The next one will get out. These have been getting, to be fair, these have been kind of getting out, especially now we have the clips going out on the Press.
Yeah, a lot of people have been liking those.
Yeah,
I think one of the biggest ones that started taking off was when we had Coach Morton from Liberty.
Oh, he's awesome.
And his stories were just like the former NBA stars.
I'm curious, but it's interesting because I mentioned we have London Shed coming in on Friday. And her, if I have this right, her mom is Nisha Shed, a former Raiderette. Her dad is Kenny Shed, a former Raider. So, like, I'm seeing all this kind of stuff, and her mom emailed us about what's happening because she knows we don't really do track like that. And granted, like, covering track is a very... You have to cover track very uniquely.
Yeah.
In my
you
opinion.
have to know who you're there for.
Right. And so she gave us all the information, like, oh, she's the first Liberty... London's the first female sprinter to go to...
a lot of firsts for Liberty State this year. A lot of firsts.
There were, honestly, on the girls' side. And boys basketball. Yeah. But I mean, like, even more so on the girls' side, which is actually kind of cool. But, like, she's the first Liberty female athlete to go to state.
Yeah.
For sprinter, obviously. She's also a dancer. So I'm like, so she has her dad's athleticism and her mom's dance skills. And I'm just kind of like, God bless.
God bless. You got both athletic genes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just being blessed, in my opinion. But I'm actually really excited. Because, like, Daddy was a former Raider. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
In front.
Oakland or Los Angeles?
I want to say L.A. Only because of timing.
Those will be some stories.
Man, I'm telling you.
Those will be some stories.
Get Kenny in here. Trust me. Yo, what was L.A. like, man? So I want to say he would have been under Flores.
Yeah.
At the time, right?
Maybe if he played in the 90s, it would have been...
A little bit later, but he was more...
I forgot who came by for Flores, but I know Jeff Hostetler was the quarterback for a year.
Later on. That was after he had the Giants run. No, so that was like the 90s.
Fluke.
Hostetler nearly retired that year with the Giants. And then when he had that Giants run. He was on special teams.
Fluke.
Because Hostetler deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Damn you, Scott Norwood. Anyway.
God bless that man for everything he's had to go through, though.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine?
He probably feels even worse knowing how the next 3 years went for Buffalo.
You ever see that 30 for 30? Was it 4 Falls Buffalo?
Mm-hmm.
Great doc.
To be fair, the NFC just was the best of the best at the time.
You know who wasn't the best of the best at the time?
Cleveland.
Yep.
No, we were.
No, we were. Actually, the 80s, y'all were actually decent.
In the 80s, we went to 3 straight title games, lost 3 times at Mile High.
So you guys in
God damn you, John Elway. To be fair, one of the games they gave the guy they said he made the game-winning field goal when it just was wide left. Anyway.
So what you're saying is Cleveland, Buffalo, shaking.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There is a weird camaraderie between the two. I don't know, especially
who would want to be partnered with a city like Cleveland?
There's a weird camaraderie between the fan bases. I don't know why. They're not even close together.
Let me know when Cleveland starts breaking tables.
No, but they want us. But I think it was 87. It was not the drive. Oh no, it was the drive.
The drive
year.
was 87, right?
No, the drive was 86. 87 was the fumble. The fact that I know this, I wasn't even a thought at the time, was phenomenal.
I just arrived.
But in 86, he missed the game-winning field goal. They said he made it, and yeah. If you go back and watch,
and the rest is history.
If you go back and watch, he literally misses it wide left. Like, I don't know how you miss this. Only the Browns, anyway.
Oh,
God
bless.
How am I going to get through football season? Anyway, let's talk softball.
All right. Let's go to our safe space. Salinas was a ride. So, shout Liberty Softball reaching their first ever CIF Regional, NorCal Regional title game.
Whatever they call it.
Seeing a CIF NorCal Softball title game. Taking on Salinas.
I will say, they had to travel their last 2 games. They had to go up to Fairfield and then to down to Salinas.
The CIF was making Liberty work for this. And granted, they got past the first step at Vanden because Vanden was a freaking shootout.
It was a hell of a drive.
With Lions, especially with Liberty winning 17-10
at 21 hits, 17 of them were singles. I was like, wow. What's funny is, like, the wind was blowing like hella in. So we're like, oh, okay, this is going to be a low-scoring game. No, that's not what happened.
See, you got to keep this in mind, especially as you get older. Always bet the over. Never bet the under. Always bet the over.
Fair point.
And then you go to Salinas. First off, all right. I said this in the cold open.
That's a hell of a drive down 101. First of all.
First off, it was a fun ride. Well, there was traffic for no.
Do we ever have a boring car ride?
No, we don't.
Exactly.
There was traffic for no apparent reason. I want to start with that part.
Guys,
because what the hell was that traffic?
It's 101, guys. You just drive. Like, I don't know what to...
People was slowing down. I'm like, what is happening? There's no accidents. There's no anything. It's just traffic for the sake of it. But then things got interesting when we got to Salinas.
As soon as we got there, Coach Macias walked. I'll
let you tell it.
Salinas is an interesting looking field. It's more asphalt and gravel than dirt or turf.
Have you ever seen gray sand?
Was it sand or gravel?
Dirt. If you told me that shit was concrete.
You thought it was walking in. So what's funny, we both had our sunglasses on walking in.
I noticed my glasses in the light. I'm like, okay, my glasses are not this tinted. And I looked, I'm like, the dirt was gray. I was like, in what world is this?
It was like we're playing. It was like the back alley field of like a city of like New York or something like that.
First off, sir, we have actual dirt things.
No, I mean, but like, like.
No, yeah, but if you're playing like on gravel or whatever.
Yeah.
It looked just like that.
Like behind a building or something like that.
I was like, we're playing stickball. Let's do it. Like
it was like a stadium out of like backyard baseball.
Right. It looked like backyard baseball.
I was just like, we were walking up, we're like, oh, okay. So when we get to the Liberty signing, Coach Macias walks up to us and immediately not even a hello or hi. Pull up that NFHS rule book. I'm like, oh, what is happening? What did we just walk into?
This is like the first. We got here like the first inning.
Yeah, we got there the first inning. Bottom of the first.
We got to like middle.
Oh, we were parking as the game started, and then Liberty went up. Trying to make this sound better for us.
No, we got to the middle of the first. That's how we're going to...
But we drove past the field when the game was starting.
We did. No. We drove past the field. We didn't know where to park because the lot was closed.
And
because
2.5 hours away, so like...
Where are we to begin with?
Yeah.
So we park and everything, walking up, got in no problem. And then, Brandon Macias goes up to you. Can you look up the rule?
Not even a hello or hi or hi. How was the drive?
Things just snowballed from that kind of point.
Yeah, things really took a weird turn. So... You said it best. It kind of took away from the value of the game.
So here's what the situation was. So what Liberty was questioning was the pitching technique or the pitching style of Salinas pitcher Abby Jones, right? The question, the part in question for windup was her foot fully coming off the plate. I mean, dude, we could fit pizza boxes, New York City Rats, my hopes and dreams, my
fit your ego under that.
We could definitely fit my ego under that for sure. Right. If you watch a lot of softball pitchers, and this is our understanding of it, if you watch a lot of softball pitchers, the foot doesn't fully come off like that high.
The foot doesn't really come off. A lot of them.
We see it kind of rocks over. It may barely hover.
It looks like they're doing one-legged squats.
Right. It could. Or if anything, it's almost like a slide step.
Yeah.
Like a slide step forward. But you
like
don't
when
really
they rock back, it really looks like a one-legged squat.
This foot was fully coming up, right? And so we're like, okay, so
then we're looking up the rules for Macias.
And so
the rules are granted. It is an interpretation rule for the umpire, which
we'll get to.
That's one thing to discuss. But the rule isn't very clear.
Mm-hmm.
However, just looking at it, you can tell like that's not correct.
Right. We're looking at like her foot's fully coming off, and we've seen a lot of pitches throughout the year, right, throughout the season. Various different schools, and the foot again, Kate, like for example, Kate Skinner, like her foot rocks.
It's almost like you want to tell me the last day of the season. You want to tell me there's some new pitching technique none of us have ever seen before on the last day of the season.
I mean, but you were relating it to Carter Capps.
Yeah. So if no one remembers, back in like the mid to late 2010s, there was a pitcher for the Padres and Marlins named Carter Capps, who would literally launch himself off the rubber, slide a couple feet down, and then throw it. Which it's not the same thing she was doing, but you have the detachment of the foot from the rubber or the pitcher's plate, and they call in this case. Which, in his case, a rule had to be implemented to say it was illegal because
it was illegal.
If you're just getting that much further, you're cutting the distance shorter. You're making your fastball a Carter. Granted, he threw 100 miles an hour anyway, which I don't know how.
But 100 miles an hour from 60 feet 6 inches is very different from 100 miles an hour 58.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's what. Excuse me. I
think
that's what you saw a lot of in like the Liberty Hoos would come back to the dugout and like to give scouting reports to each other. And it's like it's just coming fast.
And granted,
Jones threw her off speed maybe a handful of times in the game.
She was just rifling it through.
It was just heat all game.
Which when you have that kind of advantage, it's kind of like, and this isn't like. To be fair, Abby.
It was kind of like a Nolan Ryan fastball moment because like, what are you going to do?
Nothing about Abby Jones coming. Like we heard more about
Lila Partridge
from Casa Grande.
Yeah,
because we know she's going to Kansas. That whole battery with her and the catcher. They're both I forgot her name, but they're both D1. Like that battery that's a Division I battery, and Lila Partridge is a good pitcher.
She was very good.
Lila Partridge kept her foot on a damn plate.
She hit Liberty the first time she faced him this year.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Kudos to her. She had a great season, but you just look at what was happening in Salinas, and every time Brandy would complain to the third base because Brandy's on the third base side, he would say, oh, I don't see it. It's not that egregious. Her spike is staying on the floor.
We need to preface one thing first, though. The umpires
were from the CCS.
Was CCS? But weren't they also the league umpires?
That's the rumor.
We were CCS. Yeah, we know they're CCS umps.
Yeah, I don't know if they were their league umpire.
Okay, we know they were section
umps. The initials on the hat didn't match with their league initials, so I don't think that's the case. Okay. But even granted, when Liberty played Vanden, those guys had NCAA hats on.
So I mean,
Brandy said they weren't from the NCAA, so I don't know what that's for. Like Jeff said, this you dress for the job you want.
Exactly, you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. You want to be college jump. I mean, I guess you got rock the college stuff and in NorCal and in section regionals. It was interesting because there was if we think back to the NCS, and these were neutral umps from neither of the two leagues.
St. Mary's.
At St. Mary's.
It was neutral site,
neutral umps, right? And then the regional, the Northern California regionals, the championship game was home and home.
It's very interesting. Brandy brought up a good point, and where she said, it really seems like things peaked at the sectional finals and then took a nosedive once you got into state.
Which makes no sense because,
which is kind of ass backwards.
I would think more during the playoff sequence, right? You could have your home field and that kind of stuff. Because right, when you get to a championship game, that should be neutral. Liberty had home field in NCS, right? They had home field against Foothill and St. Mary's. Huh?
Still had to go. Yeah,
and they still went to St. Mary's for championship. Right, Casa Grande no different, right? For the most part, right? They both had to travel. Yeah. Everything was neutral.
Granted, that was a Petaluma drive.
But even that, but they still had to travel, right? And I'm thinking of this, and we were kind of talking about it on the way over.
It is the NorCal title game. You get a banner and a plaque for this game.
I mean, you should get rings for this game, in my opinion. But
and you get medals.
Yeah, we'll get back to we'll get to the medals conversation later.
But
it should be the championship game should be. I can understand. The first round, the semifinal at home. All right, cool. But it should be neutral. The fact that it was at Salinas and at that S-hole field, the fact that it was at Salinas and that completely trash field, it took that part took away the umpiring for sure. You saw it, the umpire, I shoot on the field, right? Was with Angela Garcia who formerly from Max Preps, right?
Correct.
We shoot on the field. We got thrown off, especially from the third base side, where we could see everything. We got thrown off the field. So make that part make sense. Right?
So what's interesting is you look at Liberty's 2018 football team, which let me just look at the schedule. So in the NorCal title game, they played Valley Christian, and it says neutral site. Granted, this is 2018.
I mean, but even then.
But even then. Let me see if I can actually find the bracket. But
what would the NCS run? That would, the title game was.
Well, the NCS ran differently back then.
Okay, so that was kind of
the title game. Was that a De La Salle? Because they lost to De La Salle in the open title game. That's how they dropped the D1 title.
Right.
But they still had the bid anyway. But
they still went up. Right. See, my thing is, if you could do it like that, there's several ways. There's several changes you could make to baseball, softball when it comes to the postseason. When you do it like that, where it's section's going to have the neutral title game, but regional is not. Can you imagine if this team had to go to LA to play state? State comes back next year.
Yeah.
But you have to go San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's you have to have a neutral site. I think your title games, regardless, should be at neutral sites.
I agree to that. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Honestly, they could have played at Ohlone in Fremont.
Oh, okay. Football. Okay, hold on. Football is different. There is no NorCal.
It's just straight to state.
It's straight to state, but then the first round is the de facto NorCal title.
Right. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But even then, that NorCal run is a home and home. It's not. Is it neutral for football?
It says NorCal. Oh no, it is neutral.
Oh,
it is neutral.
Funny how that worked.
It's neutral. It does say NorCal Regional.
But what I'm trying to say,
They
you
played
couldn't.
at Cebrieros? I thought it was Saddleback.
But if you think about it, they couldn't. Saddleback's got a good field.
Oh, I know.
Saddleback's got a really good field. But you couldn't play like this game. The championship game couldn't be played at Ohlone. It literally is like a midpoint for both programs.
Oh yeah, Fremont.
Right.
Or
it's like Fremont.
Yeah.
Fremont. As a Ohlone alumni, I'm
Not
partially biased.
Not
but
too rich into the South Bay.
It's still the East Bay.
It is.
Fremont's the East Bay.
I thought that was South.
No, Fremont. We should do it South Bay. Fremont's the East Bay. The Tri-City is the East Bay.
I don't understand the city. I don't understand this area.
It's
anymore.
the East Bay, which is west from here. Geography.
On to the next.
Just call it the inland at this point.
But it was really weird to have a NorCal title game not at a neutral site, because it's not like you couldn't find a site. All the colleges are gone.
Right.
Like everyone's graduated or they're out of school. So it's not like you couldn't have gone to an Ohlone or even like
You could rent the field.
It's not like it's not like
You tell me CIF. You just think the CIF could not have a date to use Ohlone.
But it's not like they couldn't say like,
Also,
oh, they need.
You know
the
how much
field.
better that parking would have been.
Oh, I know. But it's not like they could say, oh, they needed the field. Like, no, school's out.
Yeah.
What's the issue here?
First off, at Ohlone, school's out weeks before.
Exactly.
So it's not like anyone.
Could have played this game at LMC.
Okay, we're trying to have a neutral site here. Come on.
It's pretty neutral. It's Pittsburgh.
I mean, true, but
It's pretty neutral.
But even then, like, you have so many options. San Jose State.
That's another, yeah.
You know, that would have been fine. San Jose State, Monterey. I mean, if you want to have, you mentioned LNC, Cal State Monterey.
Yeah, or Monterey, what's the
Monterey-
JC down there?
Monterey Bay, is it? Monterey
Peninsula?
Monterey Peninsula,
Yeah.
yeah, Monterey Peninsula. I keep want to call Monterey Bay City College. I'm like, that's not it. But
That's not a bad name, though.
That's really not a bad name. But you have options, right?
You
Santa
have
Clara,
options.
San
And
Jose
this-
State, Ohlone, Monterey.
And I feel like it's because it's the last day of the season. They said, let's figure something out. You know, it's kind of...
It's lazy.
It's kind of... It really does feel lazy.
It's lazy, honestly. And it's lazy from the Federation. It's not even like a section thing. It's from the Federation.
It's really interesting that the sectional games got more hype build up
The sectional games had a lot more prestige to it
than
than your regionals. Like, you're telling me there's no slight to the NCS or the CCS, but you're telling me the NCS means a lot more than all of Northern California. You know what I'm saying? Like, make that part make sense.
And it was weird because we were talking about like, because there was a discussion after the Vanden game. Like, is this a neutral site? Where is it? So then I go,
And no one knew.
It was like, do you go back to St. Mary's? Like, is that?
But that would have been okay.
Like that, it would have been weird, but it would have been better than what we dealt with.
It would have been a bit further. I mean, granted, from a distance standpoint, it would have been a bit further for.
Granted, what NCS
Salinas,
does is like, I believe it's the host site is the closer neutral site of the higher seed. So like, we would have had to gone somewhere closer.
Monterey?
So like San Jose State, Monterey.
But that would have been so.
It would have made more sense.
But that would have been so much better than
Fremont.
What we had. Sure, play the game at Kennedy.
God have mercy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have play the game at Logan. Not even to be biased like that, but you see what I'm saying.
Yeah. Can we ran out the Oakland Coliseum?
You know how fire that would have been. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know how dope that would have been for the girls, especially. You know how cool that would have been.
Mm-hmm.
But you have so many. I mean, you can use it. I mean, you can't use a baseball field. But
And also, the vibe of the game was very
first off, when we walked in,
interesting.
First off, okay, so we drive in, and my first start. I haven't been to Salinas in a very long time. I've been very
Never
long
been there,
time.
never going back.
No.
As Angelo said, I'm not bringing my ass back here.
I have no reason to go back to that S-hole city. And I can't say the full word on pod. But Salinas is pretty much like Timu Brentwood.
Yeah.
So we get there, and it reminded me a lot of Texas. And here's the thing that, and I've told you this about Texas before, and I think I said this before. Like, Texas is very anti-outsider.
Yeah.
They don't like outsiders in their city, which is
And
hilarious
that's kind
to
of
me.
the vibe we got driving to
We
Salinas.
walked there, man. The vibe was, you seem kind of lost, boy.
It really felt like, when you were walking in, it really felt like everyone's kind of staring at you as you're walking
The
in.
record stopped.
Yeah.
But that whole vibe, right?
Like the Family Guy episode when they're driving to Trump country. And we're like, well, I'm
you know
not
what?
saying that. Not
If you
saying,
watch-
not making this political. I'm just saying.
No.
Not just
Well, if you
saying.
watch any You watch any 90s sitcom and like the one person walks in and like you hear the record stop, everything.
The record stop, everyone's head turns.
It was literally that, and it's funny because
and everyone's staring at you as you walked by them.
But here's
it was
my
the weirdest thing.
Who the hell is Salinas?
I don't know.
Right? Not who the hell is Selena. We know about the goddess that is Selena.
Oh, we don't talk shit about that.
No. But the city, like, who are you? Like, you have no anything.
So the reason I bring this up is because their entry gate was behind the outfield fence instead of like behind home plate or whatever.
Which is fine.
No problem with that. But you had to. But what they did was, what a lot of the fans did was they pulled their pickups to watch over the outfield fence, which
also actually kind of that might be the only plus I've seen from that.
Great idea. Place. But as you're walking past them with their trucks, they're just kind of like staring at you, and I'm just like,
it's literally y'all kind of waiting for someone. Waiting for someone to kind of yell, y'all seem kind of lost now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of walking in like
accent and everything.
This is interesting.
It's stuff that I thought we'd get from Brentwood. I'd get from Brentwood when I first got here. Like when I first came here, like when we first moved here in 2020, it's the kind of vibe I got originally, where it's like, oh, we definitely are not near a city anymore.
And the way things unfolded just left a bad taste in my mouth. Or how the rest of just like the city and the high school as a whole. Mm-hmm. You have the principal talking smack to Liberty's coaches. You have some of the players not shaking Principal Huckabee's hand after the game.
Weirdest. The principal, I'll get to the players not shaking hands. I think that kind of like encapsulated the vibe and everything. But the principal talking smack.
You have the other team's head coach saying we have to exit the field.
Oh, he was just a schmuck, honestly. But
even though before the game, everyone said it was fine to shoot where we were.
Well, that's the crazy part because we've never really had. Look, when we were at St. Mary's, they had like they did like a designated box of where we can say we were at Liberty for the opening round for regionals. Angela had a certain. We couldn't go past like that first. When I was at
Vanden, they said you can be on the because Vanden's field small. There's not a lot of wiggle room. You have to shoot from the end of the dugout, which is fine. We're there,
right. But it's still kind of you can't be here, but you can be.
There were parameters that were set, and so Angelo said something that I found interesting was that he said I asked 3 people. I forgot who the 3 people were. He said they all said you could shoot here, and then the third base coach said no. We said no photographers on the field. So I'm like,
but he said that. But he said that. But the third base coach said that after everything was going down.
Yeah, he said that.
So after the first,
he said that with an attitude too. I was just like, it's too early for this.
After the first inning, first we drove too far for that. But after the first inning, that's when they all kind of met, right? And even people in Salinas stands, I kind of overheard them. Oh, well, they're crying about Abby's pitching, and I was just like, y'all sound like you know something. It's a little bit like that reaction.
Cindy came back to the dugout, and I think it was the principal that walked up to them with the whooping and said, "Yeah, what she's doing is illegal." I think Cindy says that.
But also, like,
not trying to get sued for libel here.
No. I mean, you saying that's what we think you heard, but like
sources said.
Sources.
I feel like Adam Schefter right now on ESPN.
According to sources, close to the situation. So it's a janitor who's kind of passing through. If y'all want journalism tip, whenever you hear reporters say sources, trust me when I tell you, it's hearsay unless they can say. If you hear sources or like sources close to the situation, that kind of stuff, really take it with a grain of salt until you hear like official wording from whatever. But the funniest part was you mentioned the principal kind of talking smack to Cindy. And
Cindy walked back.
It was the funniest thing though.
Cindy walked back to the dugout saying that. Well, I'm not gonna repeat what she said, but she was like, "The hell is his problem?"
Well, she was talking. I mean, but he also mentioned how like the principal was talking about, oh, my friend, he's the owner of TaylorMade, stuff like that.
Head coach
was saying, okay, head coach was saying, my friend's he's the owner of TaylorMade. We have this, that, and the other, whatever. My first thought was like, TaylorMade sucks. Like why would you?
I was like, who?
First off,
that was my first reaction.
First off, TaylorMade sucks. Okay, Travis Matthew way better.
What even is it?
It's a golf brand. You know what TaylorMade is?
Oh, it's a golf. I don't.
If you ever watch it, so uncultured.
I play chess instead.
Nerd. But something like first off, TaylorMade. My friend's the owner of TaylorMade. Like, okay, your stuff's trash.
It was really like you're trying to put yourself on a pedestal. With
you are
out
of nowhere.
It was
unprovoked at that.
So that's why I'm saying, like, the whole vibe of the game was just you're just leaving there. It's like I ain't never bringing my ass back.
But also just so we have the clip, Travis Matthews better than TaylorMade. Easy.
Fair. So now we're talking about
golf.
Okay.
I'll show you on like PGA 2K. How do we learn about other stuff? Video games.
Yes.
But the fascinating part to me was we mentioned the vibe. This is a regional championship game.
And I felt like everything that could have went wrong did go wrong.
Well, forget the on-field stuff for a second, right?
The off-field stuff.
The off-field stuff to me just ruined it. It's one thing to like look. If Liberty lost on their own, fine. It was a 4-1 loss. The fact that they got one was kind of like really something. But like, I've seen this team lose games before. Like when I was at the Salinas lost at College Park in the NCS last year, and they just. No controversy. It was just one of those things like the Bastards weren't there. Yeah, College Park did their thing. It was just one of them days. And you can live with that, right? You just know when it's like when it's not only is it just one of them days, quote unquote, but like
you know when the odds are stacked against you,
right? And it's not even like this person is cheating, doesn't know it, and the umps are kind of calling it out and still does it. It's they're in on it. And you can tell they're in on it.
I think the thing that was frustrating the most about it was like Salinas. All this was going on, and yet they just still didn't win the class.
Oh no, they did.
And that was
not shaking Huckabee's hand. I'm like, come on, really?
That was the biggest foul thing. And that
like the coach. I don't even know if the coach shook Brandy's hand. I think Brandy just like kind of turned, tried to shake hands, just walked away.
Granted, I get why she was pissed.
Oh, I fully get why she was pissed.
But like but
also like
the principals are there out of respect for the players,
right?
And it's like this is like the version of like shaking the hand of the owner after you win a game or something like that.
Right. And you do it no matter. You can be pissed you lost, but you do it no matter what. It's a respect thing.
Liberty did,
of course, because Liberty's classy like that.
But it's really a respect thing. It's like after like the owner will come down for a game like this and you shake his hand and all that.
Right.
So I just thought that was really foul to not ruin the class. That was, despite everything that went on, I just thought that was beyond foul, and that's what left a very bad taste in my mouth. Except in how we got back to our car.
Okay, so we're walking back.
Well, should we talk about like the whole pitching thing?
Let's talk about the pitching thing first, because the walk back, I think that's a fun story.
It's a great way to end it. So
one way to put it.
The pitching thing was. The Salinas pitcher was lifting her pivot foot off of the pitcher's plate. Fully off. And then going. Brandy was catching this as a third base coach, and the third base umpire was saying, her spike's staying on. It's not egregious enough for me to call it. All this stuff. So I'm like, I see her lifting. I'm like, you cannot say her spikes are like as long as a heel.
I was gonna say like her spikes are still on. I'm looking at like the foot is literally in midair.
The spikes are about as long as this cap on the spot.
Yep.
Not even
they're regular
maybe
spikes.
Shorter.
They're regular softball, baseball softball spikes. They're not that. I mean, anyone who has a pair of
they weren't
spikes,
like 10-inch heels.
Right. I'm looking at it like, dude, I could fit an entire pizza box under that shit. Like that's the crazy part to me, where it's like the third base ump is literally right there. He's looking right at it. The first base ump literally looking right at it. The crazy part to me was like when they all met after that first inning, when Brandy started calling it out. It was third base ump, the first base ump, and I think it was the coaching staff.
The umpires met for a good solid like 5-10 minutes.
Right. Liberty was not. I don't know if Liberty was part of that conversation.
They weren't.
It was just the umpires and
Cindy might have been.
Cindy might have been. So I don't remember seeing it for sure, but Cindy might have been. But like. You're seeing all that, and it's kind of like that to me is a little sus.
Yeah.
Right? Because it should be the umpires on their own convening.
The thing that was even weirder was you talked to the CCS commissioner, CIF?
Yeah, so I talked to CCS commissioner, the CCS assistant commissioner, Marco Sanchez.
Where was I going with this?
So I talked to him. So, he was pretty much nonchalant about the whole thing, for one.
Right.
B, when I went up to him after the award ceremony and such, and I asked him, like, hey, can you give me, in layman's terms, in basic terms, just tell me about the rule. Basically, it's just so I can, maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Oh, I know where I was going with this.
So I talked to him, like, can you tell me the rule, like, in layman's terms? What can you describe the rule? And he said, and I quote, I don't know the rule. And maybe off the top of his head, he didn't know it. But it's actually in my story, which you can read on thepress.net.
That'd be a plug.
But it's in the story where he mentions that I don't know the rule, and then that all the coaches got together.
He probably meant off the top of his head.
Right.
And then he said all the coaches got together and they kind of squashed it. I'm like, no. What happened?
Y'all coaches got together.
What happened? Well, what really happened was that stopped Brandy from talking about it. Was she went out to argue and then the umpire gave her a warning. So that's why it was never brought up again. Which, that's hey, yeah, it was squash, but not how.
No, it wasn't really. It was squash amongst y'all.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. Like I've never seen one game where it looked that one-sided in that regard.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm seeing it like the umpire. I mean, you get third inning in. Really, you could kind of tell. Okay, like they're all in on this.
Yeah.
And that's the way it looked. And I hate to say that about a high school team, but you just kind of know. Like we talk about with football, right? We talk about the refs in Pittsburgh and all this kind of stuff. But like it doesn't never always seem like it doesn't. People can make that argument, from the other schools,
but it's not.
But it's not blatant. This was just like blatant.
Yeah, and it's not a matter of playing in an intimidating environment. That's not the like.
It's not that at all.
We've covered games at Pittsburgh. We've covered games at Antioch. We've covered games.
Right. This wasn't first off. This wasn't anywhere near intimidating. Like Pittsburgh would destroy this place.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But we've covered
Liberty
games.
would destroy it.
But
Liberty's fans would destroy.
We've covered games in other places, and it's like that wasn't the issue. The issue. It's not like we don't hear people banter and talk smack. That's not what we're saying. Right. We're just saying the way you did it and the way you walked out of that game was just classless.
Like, it was really surprising to see the year end that way. To see how it all ended. So we're leaving.
Let me tell this.
Go for it.
So I was on the phone with my mom because we're 2.5 hours south, and she's like, "Where the hell are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're on our way back.
Somewhere in the middle of California.
Somewhere in California." So we're walking back to our car, and I'm telling my mom what's kind of happening to the game, and I see the car in front of us has the window rolled down, and I'm like, "Huh." So I didn't think anything of it because I thought they were Salinas people, so I was just started talking louder. No, I'm just joking. No,
that would have been me doing it.
But we got in the car, and then I look, and the guy in front of us from the driver's seat's adjusting his rear view mirror to look at us. And I'm like, I'm on the phone with my mom. I go, "Jeff, look at that." And he goes, "What the hell?" You go, "What the hell?" So then he's starting to stare at us. I'm staring right back. Like I got nothing to lose at this point. I'm just gonna stare right back. So then you pull off because was not stopping to stare, and we both look.
Stop and stare.
We both look as you pull away,
and it's the principal
and it's the Salinas High School principal.
Well, I tell you, this guy gave us the meanest of mean mugs. It was like we mentioned how the players didn't win with class. They didn't kind of shake Huckabee's hand, and then you have this guy just staring us down. Here's my overall take on this.
Especially as a principal, you're supposed to be the one who
you're the face of the school.
You're the face of the school. You kind of represent what the school is, and
right.
You're like a few notches above the players. And for you to talk smack, B, stare down people as they're leaving.
He was saying there was one part where he was sitting on the first base side. I think it was late in the game, and Kelsey was batting, whatever.
No, it was Caitlin.
No, it gets even better.
It was
Kelsey also.
It was both of them because I remember it was Macias. It was Caitlin Macias, and that's why
Kelsey.
Cindy got pissed.
Oh no, there's another one then because I don't know about the Caitlin one.
I thought it was Caitlin. I could be wrong.
I don't know about the Caitlin one because so I'm on first base side. The first base umpire eyeing me down the entire freaking inning, and I'm like, if you miss a call, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
But he's just eyeing me down. And I'm like, you are so in on this. So I'm like, why do you want trash golf equipment? Anyways, so
I love being stared down by people. I just love it.
I'm just kind of he stared me down. Brother, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. You're from middle of nowhere, California.
Stop it. I'll stare back. What are we gonna do? Sit here and stare at each other for 7 innings?
You don't think I'm gonna swing back? Come on now. But so we go there. So
hey,
you gotta tell me about the Caitlin.
Hold on. As my mom said, my grandfather always said, "Smile and wave." Smile and wave like a gentleman.
I was taught don't start fights, but finish them.
That's fair too. Smile and wave like a gentleman. That's what we did when we drove past the principal. We just smiled and waved.
We should do him like an ear of corn. But my thing is, so you gotta tell me about the Caitlin one. Because when Kelsey was batting,
I could have heard the name wrong.
I remember when Kelsey was batting, she struck out swinging, and you hear, and this is some kind of banter, but you just hear with everything already happening, You hear me? Oh, she's a whiffer. She whiffs.
Okay,
she's
was
a whiffer.
Kelsey. I thought someone.
And
said
I was
Kelsey.
like, golly, okay, like that's what we're doing. When I tell you, Cindy was about to hop the fence and whoop this dude.
I remember. I didn't hear the whole thing, but I just remember watching her neck.
Bro, I was right there.
Her neck. Like,
she looked at him.
Her head turned. I was like, "What just happened?" Oh,
Juan,
I got chills.
She looked at him. I looked at her, and I was just like, "I'm like, don't do anything you're gonna regret." I'm telling myself the same exact thing, right?
Like, Lord have mercy.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I remember like a year ago when Liberty was playing Antioch, and one of the Antioch parents was doing that to the girls. Mm-hmm. He was kind of talking his shit, whatever. And I was like, dude, you're talking smack to high school girls. I get the idea. I get the idea of like, oh, great job, and you're supporting your team and all that. That's cool, right? But when you start doing that, when you're the principal doing that at that.
You're the principal doing that. That's kind of
It's kind of like, bro. Parents, like, you get the range of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, whatever. Like, kind of don't make it. You're being kind of
as a
parent.
Trash, you don't.
Okay.
As a parent, you don't do it, but there are some who will do it.
But the principal, like,
you should
really.
Like, and it's really funny.
We never heard. Look,
it's really funny because you saw the contrast in principals at the game. Mr. Huckabee was sitting on his side, just there quiet, and you have him over there talking smack.
First off, Huckabee deep in left field culture.
Love it.
After what happened against San Marino.
You know what? He knew.
I was like, this is so perfect. But like, it gave me a whole new respect. Not that I didn't have any to begin with, but it kind of gave me a whole new respect for the principals we have here.
Yeah.
Right? Because look, Huck never does that.
Yeah.
Right? Amaro, sure as hell never does that. Right?
Even Casey wouldn't do that.
Casey when he's around never does that. Right? They're supporting their school and all that kind of stuff. But you never see them kind of take any kind of verbal jab, however little it may be.
Which, besides the point, kudos to Mr. Huckabee for making that drive the night after graduation.
Oh, Huckabee is a real one. Let me tell you something. I think you ask anyone, Huckabee is
Mr. Huckabee, if you needed a ride, we would have gave you one. Just saying this now.
Yeah, this would have been nice. But it was interesting seeing just the levels of class in that. And talking with people afterwards, I remember talking with Eric afterwards about Salinas, because Eric's traveled a little bit throughout the state. And he goes, it's just so different because Salinas is a farm town like Brentwood
We said this leaving, where it was kind of like a clash of like it wanted to be a South Bay city, but also a Central Valley city.
I felt like it's the South Bay city that got rejected for being a South Bay city, so now they're kind of taken out. Like they want to be part of the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Like Brentwood is questionably part of the Bay Area, so it's not like we're really a Bay Area city like that. But
we're connected through Highway 4.
Listen.
More power.
Listen. This is the barometer of Bay Area cities. If BART touches your city, you are a Bay Area city.
And it is the Lion King rule.
It is the Lion King rule, okay? Everything the light touches is part of the kingdom. No. San Jose.
It stops at San Jose, really?
It stops in it stops like not downtown San Jose, but close to it. I know it goes to Warm Springs.
Because I know some people consider Gilroy as the Bay Area. Which is kind of...
Gilroy being the Bay Area is the same argument as Brentwood being the Bay Area.
Which also, you didn't know about the Gilroy Garlic Festival.
I did. When am I ever in Gilroy?
Dude.
Sir.
It's a major thing.
Sir. First off, I get my Gilroy fries at the Giants games.
Technically, you get the garlic from Gilroy, but yeah.
I said what I said. Okay. Sir, Brentwood's one small city enough for me. Okay, yeah. Gilroy, I'm just kind of like, come on. Salinas was like being in Texas. It really was like, and I hate to like harp on Texas like that because like there's some parts of Texas I really did like, but it was just so like when we drove in, I'm like, what is this?
Because like the 101 Business Expressway went through the city, so it was kind of like
it's almost like a pass through a city.
I forgot, on your way to like Sonora, there's a city that has the highway run through it also. I forgot the name of it, but it's kind of like the same like that. But I was gonna say Salinas, is it possibly a good or great city? Sure, it just didn't show it.
No, it is an asshole city.
I was kind of disappointed leaving.
I was just it's not even like, oh, y'all just mad because Liberty lost. I've done that drive after they've lost in playoffs and whatnot. We've done those drives after teams we covered lose and everything. I've done it after Heritage Football lost in 2 semifinals. We've done it after Liberty basketball lost. Liberty boys basketball lost this year.
Lost to San Juan Valley and Monte Vista.
Right.
Don't forget that.
Which,
sure.
It's a neutral site across the street.
No,
okay.
SRV had something going on with their gym. I remember that.
I hear excuses.
Was it for the girls' team? Because they were.
It might have been for the girls' team.
I can't remember exactly.
That would make sense. But even then, we have a neutral site across the street.
No, it was. It was still technically a home game for them.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a different gym.
Yeah.
Kidding. Okay. But we've seen when Freedom Baseball lost at Cal.
Yeah.
Right. We've seen the teams we cover lose, and we've done, and it's like, okay, well, they lost, kind of sucks, whatever, cool. This just felt very, because of everything that happened, from all the off the field stuff,
entitled?
to the pitching controversy.
How
the hell is Salinas entitled?
Not entitled, but just very, I don't know.
But that's my thing. Everyone's like, oh, well, Salinas this, Salinas that. If you're a trash city, you're just a trash city.
Yeah.
In all honesty,
I was.
Look, we say this in New York because a lot of people hate on the Bronx for bevy of reasons, right? We say it here with Antioch.
Yeah.
Let's.
We see. Yeah.
It's a weird description. Antioch's a better city than Salinas.
Yeah.
Oakland is a better city than Salinas.
Just
you can make the argument. You can say what you want about. Oh well, Antioch's this, Oakland's this. You know what? Yeah, every city has their bad moments. Don't get me wrong.
When you make the drive, when we drive to these playoff games, you kind of hope that city is at least nice because you're going to be there for a few hours.
We've driven to several playoff cities. Never. Dude. I've been doing this here the last 2.5 years. You've been with me the last 2 years, pretty much doing this. We've traveled to different cities. You've gone down to Los Gatos. You never had this issue in Los Gatos.
Dude, the people in Los Gatos were so nice.
You didn't have this issue in Fairfield a couple days before.
Granted, if I had a problem in Fairfield, I was going to.
I mean, but Fairfield,
what's funny was
they have their own issues right now.
That's funny. When I was walking to the field, I was getting my camera out because some people don't if they see the chain or not
the chain.
If they see the press pass,
when you see the bling hanging down, I get what you mean, man. But when you see the credits, right?
I would just have my camera also just in case, and I walk up and the guy goes. And I go, I just want to pull the camera out. So he's like, nah, I know who you are. You're good. I go,
we out here.
There you go.
You must be one of our 10 listeners. Thank you, guys. But
because it's a military school, so probably.
I get it. Look, we're credentialed. We have
Los Gatos was nice.
Los Gatos was nice. Fairfield was no problem. We've been Dallas, no problem. Cal was no problem. Granted, Cal's very different, but we've gone to different.
Been to Cal a few times. St. Mary's in, not St. Richmond. What's that city? Not Albany.
Albany.
Not Stockton. Oh, it is Albany.
It is Albany.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. No, anywhere we've had to go on the road, really never had it. The worst thing we'd have to have issues with parking.
Yeah,
that's honestly, the worst problem we have.
San Juan Valley, I don't have a problem with. It's just parking.
Right.
Fist fight someone.
God, parking is ridiculous at SRV. Are you kidding me?
Me and my dad looped the school for about a half hour trying to find parking.
Bro, I'm just gonna go park on a track. I'm like, it doesn't work. But we've never had those.
We've never
experienced anything like that.
I've never had problems like that before.
We've talked with other principals. They've been super cool. Other coaches. We've been very fortunate that everyone we've gotten a chance to work with on the other side, on the opposing side, right? Yeah. It's never been a problem.
I've never been stared down, told to leave the field.
I've never been told to leave the field.
I've never been stared down like that. That's what really made it uncomfortable.
But not even just by the principal, which was awkward in itself, but
the umpires were doing it. The parents were doing it.
The coaches were doing it. And it's kind of bro.
It was just I don't want to go back here.
I mean, it's like I said earlier, there are cities that just don't belong in this country. Salinas is for sure one of them.
Salinas was definitely.
I'd rather be in Jersey. You know how hard it is for me to say that.
Okay.
That's like if you ask our copy editor, would you rather be in Michigan or Salinas? Obviously, he's taking Michigan. Would you rather be in Michigan State or Salinas? He'll take Michigan State over Salinas. That's saying a lot.
Columbus or Salinas is what we should ask him.
I think he'll take Salinas.
We'll ask him after this. But it was a very frustrating end to the season because the value of the game was taken away because of everything else that was going on.
And it didn't need to be. That's really the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
None of this needed to happen.
This all could have easily been avoided, one way or another.
You know why? You know how it could be avoided? Neutral.
if you weren't going to make the rule, that's fine. Don't stare down the reporters.
But also, we have to also keep in mind, not only the ump, but the third base coach blocked the photographers after everything happened.
That too.
So it's like, if you're innocent...
That too. He would literally turn to see where we were standing and then
he would get
slide step in front. I'm
like, it wasn't just me. Like, he also did it with Angelo.
I was like, okay.
And I'm sitting here like, if you're innocent, why are you being extra?
I was like, dude, I'm just here to take stats. Like, what are you blocking me
right,
for?
Like...
I'm taller than you. Like, you ain't gonna win this battle.
Like, come on, brother.
Like I can see over here. We're not gonna do this.
It's like the shot. There's a famous because I know we're about to have the Gold Cup. There's a famous shot of USA and Mexico of like, I think it was Walker Zimmerman and like one of the guys from Mexico, and he literally did the height thing.
Yeah.
It's like that. But
I told Brandy after the game I got the other team's signal, so if they rematch them, I got them.
So are we bringing the drums?
You know what kind of scandal we're about to start? Oh hell!
just be. We're gonna replay the game at a neutral site at Aloni. I was like, I know the stands. Don't worry. I was like, you got to get. You got to count. You got to count.
For a team that was in like, I followed Liberty all season long. I still don't know what their signals are. Like I listened to the numbers. Salinas.
I just hear numbers, bro.
Salinas. It took because I kind of know how it works. I use the same number system when I play baseball.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it depends coach to
similar.
Coach.
Right.
But how it roughly works is you give out 3 numbers, and depending on the coaches are going
to kill us for this one. Just so you know.
Maybe I should stop speaking. So you have 3 numbers, and that's it. It's like
just 3 random numbers. It's just 3 random numbers.
I should probably stop talking right now because now that I think about it, every coach in our area uses the system.
It's like what you're playing for, what the pitch, what the situation you're playing for, stuff like that, right?
Salinas, 2 innings. I had that. I was just like, this is really.
I'm telling you, man. Just next at the rematch, hey, Juan, what you got? Okay.
He called something out, and I'm like, you're gonna do that in this situation? And sure enough, she did. I go, what? I'm like, huh? Why?
Juan out here stealing signs and everything.
Please don't arrest me.
Two things gonna happen. Either they'll come after you, or they're gonna come hire you.
Change your signals.
PitchCom exists.
It's not
actually PitchCom exists, and some schools use it.
Yeah, Foothill uses
Liberty Baseball uses it.
Really, Foothill uses it too.
Liberty Baseball has PitchCom, so they have it to the catcher.
Yeah, that's how Foothill has it too.
Right, and then
the head coach wears a headset
and started. Yeah, so actually,
or an earpiece.
They have a radio.
Oh, that
straight radio, and then they have straight radio, and then like they'll just relay.
What if they telegraph to the catcher?
Stop! You just see a random desk.
God almighty. This has been a great episode.
You're stealing signs now, stealing telegraphs. What? That feeling telegraphs became cool in the mid-2020s.
It's a great thing you stopped me because I was about to leak. I was about to say how the whole system worked. I'm like,
I would have done in general. I'm like, wait a second.
I'm like, every coach that we know around here uses this. Let me stop talking.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait a second. But in general terms, right.
In general terms, you have 3 numbers.
3 numbers. You have 3 numbers. They're similar to an area code.
The first 3 digits of your social security number, something like that. I don't know.
But see, every school here was PitchCom. Like, next year, watch. You can see catches going up, everything, put the radio in, go down. I'm going to have all of Brentwood and Oak just staring me down the entire time. Watch. You're gone. I'm the one who has to deal with this.
Yeah. We'll be doing my send-off podcast at the end of June.
That'll be fun. If we ever get Morford in his office, I don't know where he's been. But yeah, do I think anything's going to happen? No. I know Liberty's
protesting it.
It's reviewing it.
So the weird thing, the last thing I'll bring up about this,
Liberty didn't allow their protest.
Liberty wanted to play the game under protest, but the umpires everyone said no because it's an umpire discretion call,
which is very
judgment
interesting.
Call, excuse me. Which I'm like, remember the 2012 wildcard game, Braves Cardinals? That was a judgment call with the infield fly, but they still played the game under protest.
Yeah, if it's under protest and you have
a point you go back to.
Right. But the thing is, if you have a replay, the point you go back to is the first pitch of the game. Mm-hmm. So you can replay the entire game.
But why couldn't you play it under protest? It's the infield fly was a judgment call. They played down under protest. That's why I don't understand.
I think that's what made it really That's really what kind
there
of
were a lot of things.
To me, that's kind of what put that over the top. Where it's like all this stuff happened, and then you couldn't play under protest.
There were a lot of things that just didn't make sense about how the game went.
A lot of shit didn't make sense how it all went. Honestly, which is really sad. You know, when you look at the season this team had, forget the loss, right? The result is what it is, whatever. But when results pretty much aided, it's like, really, bro?
You just kind of hold your hands out, and it's like,
you're like. And that's that. And then the last couple innings, that's what the girls were doing, coming back to the dugout. That's what Brandy and Cindy were doing.
Because a lot of them were just like, it's coming fast. Like, I don't know.
And they've gone against they've gone against, to be fair, they've gone against better pitchers than that.
But they all said that was faster than Lila Partridge. They all came back to the dugout saying that.
Yeah, when it's coming at a shorter distance.
Like my grandfather always said, smile and wave.
That's the clip. It's like my grandfather says.
Smile and wave. Be a gentleman. Smile and wave.
That should be how we send off this one. But yeah, in short, Salinas, S-Hole City, the Liberty probably cheated out of fair competition. I'm not gonna say out of a win, but out of fair competition.
Yeah, it wasn't really fair.
It wasn't. Like it wasn't at the end of the day. That school can go somewhere.
You know what's funny? That school
gave me appreciation for everywhere else we've been.
Well, you know what's funny? That school made Bay Area news recently because of the track star who.
Was it Salinas?
Yeah, she was from Salinas. She won because my mom told me this. My mom told me this like the day after the drive. How she won her track race, and then she sprayed her shoes with fire extinguisher.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And then they I think they punished her. I don't know if they stripped off her title, but I know they punished her. And I was like, what an interesting week for the school.
That school needed a NorCal title, I guess. But they're just I think the CIF's got to look at this situation and
how that game was handled.
CIF, I hope you're listening.
How that game was handled was foul.
It was completely unprofessional.
It was unprofessional. Honestly. It was inappropriate. It was foul.
You know. And again, like this isn't even about the loss. It's about everything that was
and it's not a thing about hostile environment. I don't know.
That wasn't even hostile.
It wasn't
a hostile environment. It was just unwelcoming.
It was unwelcoming. You're staring down coaches and reporters. You're gonna sit there and talk smack to the coaches and the principal.
We've covered road games. We talked to the other parents.
Yeah.
Like we talked, I'll be shooting around. I'll talk to the people from the other schools. Like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm with the Brentwood Press, whatever. Like,
some of them are curious. Yeah,
no, it's not a problem.
And that's fine. I don't got a problem. I don't got a problem. I may not be the most approachable person because I have a very serious, resting. I'm very serious.
I know you're gonna say, and I'm glad you didn't say it straight up.
I'm very serious, so I'm not the most approachable. But if you conversate with us, we're gonna talk. It's like we're gonna sit. It's like we're gonna look at you and then turn.
Who do you think we are? The East Bay Times?
Okay, and on that note, let's wrap this one up. Okay.
But yeah, but the reason for this pod, we were gonna recap this no matter what. But I mean, again, I think this pod and our socials and what we've done here, we've got a chance to kind of be the voice for sports around here and stuff like that. We've kind of been weirdly trusted with that. We'll see where that goes after this episode. But
people trust us. Still can't believe that. How did we get here?
No one did it before. That's why.
How the hell did we get trust?
Oh, what happened to that Kyle guy? Who? That's so messed up. Kyle's actually good peeps. But so it's one of those things where it's like they aren't going to say it, so we have a platform, and in a situation like this, when you know a team was cheated from a fair competition.
Not from the game. Fair competition.
Fair competition. I'm not talking about just the result. The result is different. This isn't like, the ball wasn't a home run, they're calling it a home run. This is literally the entire game, questionable pitching mechanics. And if CIF says, you know what, here's the rule, she was within the rule, all right, cool. Y'all reviewed it. I hope we get a review from this. I hope we get a result from this. And there's
a serious one.
Where it's like, okay, well, this happened. Here's the rule. Here's what's going to happen. Are you going to be able to replay the game? Probably not, because A, graduates have left, and B, how are you going to do it now?
Half of them travel ball across the country. Yeah.
In a perfect world, which no such thing exists.
God, I wish.
In a perfect world, Salinas, if anything, Salinas gets stripped the title, and I think to me that's justice in its own right.
Yeah.
Because that's justice, and it doesn't take fully away what Liberty softball did all season.
Yeah.
Right? This was one, because we got to keep in mind, this was one of the best teams in the Bay Area.
They ended the season second behind like St. Francis or Willow Glen or someone like that.
And even like Willow Glen kind of, they didn't win regionals, right? No, it was
I don't even think St. Francis did. I think Del Oro did. But but that's not Bay Area.
No, that's up north.
Bodega Bay, Northern.
I think Twitsack. I think Del Oro.
I thought they were up the coast.
Del Norte's.
Oh,
you think Crescent City?
Okay.
Del Norte. Yeah. Del Norte is Oregon.
Del Norte, Del Oro.
Del Norte, Del Oro, Liberty in 3.
Pacers in 5.
They actually won in 6, so don't give me that. But yeah, like it's just, I hope something happens out of this. I'm praying something happens out of this.
We're probably gonna get a press release that says our investigation has concluded. We found nothing that.
Which would be like, what are you doing then?
Yeah.
It kind of makes me wonder if that happens. Like, we've talked with Brandon and Cindy. They're like, what do we do?
We have asked multiple people in the softball community to try and understand. They've all said it's illegal. Everyone said this is an illegal pitch.
Everyone. So, we talked with umpires, coaches, collegiate players, stuff like that. We've talked with so many people. And so it's kind of like, yeah, this is illegal. Like, how is this not called? Everyone's been saying this. I mean, and these are people not connected with Liberty.
They're just like softball people would just know in the area. So I'm just like, okay.
It's illegal. And I'm like, huh. Should I,
That's heat.
Tell them. That's heat.
That's heat.
So.
Anyway.
All right. On to good news. One good news. Maddie Evers-Lyles, former Freedom softball player, now at Sacramento State, Female Athlete of the Year.
Congratulations.
We definitely have to shout that out. Do we have any other? I feel like we're forgetting one thing. We may not be.
Congratulations to all the 2025 graduates.
We did that.
Really.
Yeah. The old news now. We did that at the beginning. Graduates. Maddie shout out. That was actually kind of cool. Her first year, like, she was just killing it at SAC. I mean, everyone was telling me how hot she was when she started the season.
Yeah.
About how hot the bat was, and it just continued all year. So that's actually really awesome to see. So yeah, shouts to Maddie for that. Hell of a player at Freedom. Tell you that much.
Absolutely.
You kind of knew there was something special.
You knew you had something there,
right? And kind of she's shown it like off the bat, no pun intended.
Clever.
So yeah, we got to the Salinas episode. I guess that's one way to do it. Top 5 stories comes out this week from each of us, so look out for that in print. I love that they knocked on wood for that one. We're gonna have that, and then next week will be the top stories episode. So that'll be fun.
Yes.
So all right, it's been another. So I guess on that note, this has been another episode of the Press Talk Sports Live. Each and every week, we help share the voice. Share the spotlight and be the voice for sports here in the Brentwood Oakley area. We are presented by the Brentwood Press. For as low as $20 a year, you too can keep up with everything happening in the East County area. Go to thepress.net and click on subscribe for more information. And to subscribe, please help us keep the lights on.
Please.
Yep. Help us keep the lights on. Help keep us employed. For the soon-to-be Hall of Famer Juan Cebrieros, I am Jeff Weisinger. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, take care of one another. We will catch you guys soon.
Smile and wave.